Greetings and welcome to Africa Online Media Corporation. It is Sunday, the 18th day of May 2025. Yes, it is another Sunday. And this is Africa Online Media Corporation with its regular Sunday program. Today, we're discussing what we always thought we should not do, but we have to do: gender equality. So we'll be there. But before then, why don't we get started the way we usually start? Let me see where I am now. Okay. So that being said, Africa Online Media Corporation, we are live. We are on YouTube. We are on, excuse me. We are doing what we do, and you can join us by going on YouTube and finding us on our code 8595-832-5993, and when prompted, enter the code 5993. I hope I gave that right. Well, the weather is typical spring weather, windy, a little cold, but not too cold, just usable, not adaptable, very good for all of us. So we can just go out there and take a walk or take a stroll or just hang around and be ourselves and do what we have to do, because it is another Sunday. It is another day in May. May 18, 2025, the 138th day of the year on the Julian calendar, the Gregorian and Julian calendars. So there are 227 days left until the end of 2025. It is the 20th Sunday of 2025 on the 21st week of 2025, if we use United States number calculations. This Sunday has been the 60th day of spring. Yes, we're in the 60th day of spring, leaving us with 33 days before we see summer. Just be happy, do what you do. Don't worry about what Mother Nature is doing. Across the United States, we've had storms and thunderstorms and hurricanes and things are really not good in some parts, while in other parts there are fires and fires and fires. Well, Mother Nature again doing her thing. Daily national and international holidays that fall on this day include, but are not limited to, HIV Vaccine Awareness Day, that is today, which acknowledges all those people who are working towards finding a vaccine for HIV. AIDS, as we all know, and we should be reminded, remains a life-threatening disease that has no cure yet. National HIV Vaccine Awareness Day, therefore, is aimed at ensuring that people take proper precautions to avoid the spread of HIV. It is National Museum Day today. Do we go to the museum? Do we like museums? We have libraries and we have museums. People are working hard to make sure that those don't function anymore. But the world has observed International Museum Day on May 18th since 1977. So it's not something of yesterday. This is aimed at paying tribute to the international museum community. Museums, we must admit, are vital venues for cultural exchange and enrichment, as well as for the development of peaceful coexistence and cooperation among nations and communities. It is also National No Dirty Dishes Day. Yes, you eat from dishes. What do you do with the dishes? Do you wash them? Do you dump them in the sink? Well, keep the sink healthy, please. So, National No Dirty Dishes Day. Whether you are a mother, a father, a sister, a brother, or a roommate, no one likes dirty dishes around. That is why on this day, May 18, we celebrate National No Dishes Day, and a holiday most likely created by an upset parent, maybe. National No Dirty Dishes Day has sinks around the world rejoicing at the thought of having a light workload and a clear space on this day in those sinks, in those kitchens. So keep sinks happy and do your part by saying no to dirty dishes. It is also National Visit Your Relatives Day. Do you do that? Do you visit your relatives? Have you relatives? All the same. A day celebrated on May 18 every year and dedicated to spending time with your loved ones and cherishing family time. Know your National Relatives Day. With the advent of the digital age, however, National Visit Your Neighbors or Visit Your Relatives Day becomes an imperative because we think that we can just click the button, see them online, or send them a text message. That is not enough. You need a physical visit to uplift spirits and to help people be themselves. The Sunday after Mother's Day, that is today, is Stepmother's Day, celebrated every year in the United States. It aims to show appreciation to stepmothers around the world. Yes, stepmothers are women who marry men who already have children. They usually play the role of mothers and help to take care of their stepchildren, even though some stepchildren do not accept their stepmothers. It is the world. It is the way we live. And since the stepchildren are not biological mothers, or rather, since the stepmothers are not biological mothers, they may not get enough recognition on Mother's Day. That is why a day was set aside for them, stepmothers. We seize the moment, therefore, to say Happy Stepmother's Day today and go straight to the day's topic, gender equality. So, that being said, what is this gender thing all about? Originating from the Latin word genus, meaning kind, sort, or type, this term, gender, has evolved into the old French word, or evolved from the old French word genre, and entered Middle English as gender around the 14th century. So it's been around for a while. The term gender was originally used to classify nouns based on grammatical categories, but it has since evolved to encompass broader meanings related to social and cultural identities. Through time and usage, it has come to be used to refer to race, stock, as far as family goes, kind, rank, order, as far as species are concerned. And in this day and age, gender means the male or female sex, especially when referring to procreation and familial and tribal groups. In our context in this discussion today, especially when we take up the noun gender equality, sexual equality, or equality of the sexes, we are referring to the state of equal ease of access to resources and opportunities, regardless of gender, including economic participation and decision-making, as well as the state of valuing different behaviors, aspirations, and needs equally, regardless of gender. That is, regardless of whether you're a man or a woman. This is what we mean by gender. To the United Nations Children's Emergency Fund, UNICEF, gender equality refers to, quote, equality between women and men, and girls and boys, end of quote. When talking about enjoying the same rights, resources, opportunities, and protections, we all say this gender or that gender, male or female. And according to the United Nations, and as far back as 2017, gender equality is the fifth of 17 Sustainable Development Goals, SDG 5, and is measured annually by the United Nations Development Program Human Development Reports. So what are we talking about when we refer to gender equality or sexual equality or equality of the sexes? I will pause here so that the chair of AfricaOnline Media Corporation, Reverend Dr. Her Highness Reverend Palm, will get all of us on our seats to sit down and to continue the discussion. It is an open discussion. It is unscripted. So please feel free to come in and say what is in your mind, because gender equality knows no boundaries, is open to men and women alike. So let's go, Reverend Pam.
Yes, let's go indeed, Nia Song. Thank you so much. Before I welcome our viewers, I am one person that cannot stand dirty dishes. And till today, whenever I eat, I wash my dishes. Even when there are younger people around, they'll always say, "Auntie, why are you doing that?" I said no, because I don't like to see it, and I definitely don't like washing behind adults. I don't mind washing a dish from a child. I'm talking about under 2 years old, but adults, I don't do that. So I'm glad that there's a National Dishes Day, and I'm sure it was a mother or a woman that came up with that. I won't be surprised. But on behalf of Africa Online Media Corporation, I want to especially thank you, Nia Song, for your faithfulness. I want to welcome you, Sister Debbie, a regular on this program. I want to welcome all our listeners on YouTube. We are streaming live on YouTube. Those that are going to watch on Facebook. And gender equality, nobody seems to be talking about it these days. The Me Too movement came out and made a lot of changes. It was disruptive. But now people are not talking about it again. But they are not exactly the same thing. The Me Too is not exactly as gender, it's part of gender equality, but it's more toward sexual harassment and stuff like that. The truth of the matter is that we still live in a patriarchal society, whether in Africa or the diaspora, but it's more profound in Africa. There are still men who think their daughters should not do certain things. There are still men that invest more in their sons than the daughters. And the irony is that history has shown that the daughters are the ones that actually end up taking care of their fathers and mothers better than the guys in most cases. So you would think men would invest. We're not saying that they should select one over the other, but there needs to be a balance. And all children come from God, and they need to be treated the same. At the workplace, there are still several organizations where the women don't make as much money as the men in the same position. I have experienced that. In my case, the owner actually apologized because he realized that my competency was more than 50% the male counterpart that was making more money than me. In this case, he was not just a man, he was a white man. And the owner actually apologized. He did some things to make up, but the salaries had already been set. So there is this stereotype that still exists in societies, even in families. They still exist in some families, where if a woman or a girl child, for example, build a house, it's taken as maybe a challenge to the men, or not very welcome in the society, or like, what's she trying to prove, or who does she think she is? And that mindset needs to change. So Nia Song, I'm going to go back to you.
Yes, talking about gender equality, the aim, I think, for those who created this day or who framed the word, the noun, achieving gender equality is absolutely necessary because, as you said, it is still predominantly a male society, but there are certain harmful practices that are carried out against women and girls. These include, of course, sex trafficking. There is female genital mutilation. There's femicide. There is female genital mutilation, as I already said. There's wartime sexual violence. There's gender wage gap, women earning less than the men, and other oppressions that are aimed at women. This is unacceptable in a world in which men and women were created equal. Even one is said to be the helper of the other, but they are created equal and they ought to live equally. They ought to benefit equally. Of course, the other bad thing that they do against the girls is the breast ironing, which I didn't mention. Those are things that are carried out against women because they are women. even though some of the things are done by women to women, but it's unfortunate. Women are still much more likely than men to be poor and illiterate. They hardly send the girls to school. They send the boys, but they don't send the girls. In those days, especially in my community, it used to be so. Where the boys were going to school, the girls were going to wedding homes, into marital homes. It used to be so, but it's no longer like that in my part of the world. So it is absolutely important for us to know that the girl child is as useful in the community as the boy child, and they should all merit the same education. They should all have the same training. They should all be given the same opportunities as far as employment is concerned. Sister Debbie, I know you are here. Are you? If you can unmute, we will be able to call on you to share to give your view on what you know about or what you think and want to say about gender equality.
Your Highness, thank you so much, and thank you to Ni Asong. You are doing an awesome job, Ni Asong. Your editorial was just awesome. Outstanding editorial.
Always.
Thank you.
And about washing your hands, can you imagine growing up in a washing your dishes, growing up in an area where you do not have potable drinking water? So how do you wash your dishes when you finish eating? How do you even wash your hands or the utensils you used in eating when you finish? There's practically no way to do that. So for those of us who have that luxury of having potable water, I will strongly encourage you to wash your dishes as Your Highness does, because I do the same thing. It does not matter where I am. It's just in public places that I will not do it. But if I am in my home or I go to a friend's home, if I have to serve myself after that, I like to wash my dish just to appreciate the person who spent time preparing the meal. But in public places, of course, I will leave it there. And about the Stepmother's Day, I did not know of that. It's just an honor to know that it's possible for women who have dedicated their lives in helping other human beings, be it the biological or not, to grow up and be people in the communities. Thank you so much for bringing that. I did not even know that until listening to the editorial. Ni Asong, that's why I say you are awesome in what you do. And about gender, you're welcome. About gender equality, oh my goodness. My understanding of gender equality is growing up and then living my village, living the community, and living in diaspora and different aspects of it, how much I've learned. And I resonate with a lot of things I've just heard, and I know other people, and especially our viewers listening, will wonder, why is she what is it she's talking about? I grew up knowing that men, in my family, the boys go tapping palm wine with the father, and the women go to the farm with the mothers and grandmothers. But should it be that way? I don't think so. Nowadays, no. But that's what used to happen. But a lot has changed. What has changed? As Your Highness said, what has changed is that we have evolved and a lot has evolved, but the men still do not want to let go that aspect of, yes, the female child can do equally what the male child can do. Why let the female child get married early while the male child is pursuing a career and then comes back and still have to be dependent on a woman to take care of him? So I think it's a good idea to have both genders pursue careers and then come back, find their ways together in life as adults, rather than send one to an early childhood marriage who will end up suffering a lot of abuses from it happens in some communities, but not all anyway, from their spouse who had learned something but yet came back home to embrace a culture or tradition that has not changed. So I hope that we can learn from our past, those who have had the experience, and encourage the current generation to understand that it's good to educate every child you have, irrespective of the gender. If it's a male, a female, give them the equal respect, give them the equal treatment, and send them to the same type of educational institution. Let them find their ways, because it's not everyone who goes to school. Whatever they learn from school and whatever they major from may not necessarily be what they will end up doing in life. I've had instances where you send a child to school and say, okay, this is my beautiful daughter, and I want you to be a social worker. And the child says, no, I don't want to be a social worker. I want to be a singer. You say, oh, hell no, I don't want you to be a singer. You don't know how to sing, but you've never heard them sing. You've never given them the experience to sing. You don't know what they are able and capable of doing. So let us give those girl childs the opportunity to explore what they are able and capable of doing on their own, rather than insist on what we want them to be. I know in the less, they call them what, anyway, it used to be called,
You mean less privileged?
no, developing countries, but now
Or underdeveloped countries or developing countries?
yes, Your Highness, we say that, oh, I want my girl daughter to be a doctor. I want her to be a doctor. I want her to be a lawyer. I want her to be a midwife. But those things are no longer what gives pleasure to anyone. Do we know how many people who are in those professions from our part of the world living in diaspora that work 24/7 and they end up being found dead in the car or after the second or third shift that they're doing just to help get the extra income to send back to support those who have decided to stay and just wait for that income? Countless, countless. You go to work from one job as a midwife, go to the next one as an OBGYN, and to the next one as a nurse practitioner. 24 hours, get into the car, got home, could not open the door. And they, oh, mom is supposed to be home. Mom, where is mom? This is when she's supposed to be home. No answer. Open the door. Mom is gone in the car. And that mom has been working 24/7. And guess what? The husband is at home sleeping. It's the children who are worried about mom. My point here being, this gender thing, we should not just push one person out there. If we are parents, let us encourage, if we're blessed with both genders, let's encourage them to explore whatever their capabilities are, but they should not go beyond their capabilities, because that also pushes them beyond boundaries. So I'm begging and plead with those listening, please share this with the future generation. Do what is within your means, but do not belittle any gender because you were brought up one way. It does not mean your children should be brought up the same way as you were, and help your grandchildren to understand better than what you did. Thank you so much, Nia-san.
Thank you, Debbie, for your input. And don't go away. I know you won't go away. All we have to do, as you're saying, is to ensure that both male and female are given the same treatment in the home. They are sent to the same schools. They are given the opportunity to make their choices in academics. If they want to study sciences, let them do it. If they want to study art, let them do it. Don't tell them, no, you are the woman, you only study this or that. It is absolutely necessary for us to let our children decide what they want to study, because it depends on their skills, it depends on their acquired knowledge, and it depends on what they know how to do and can do. So let them do it the way they want to do it. Just be there as a guide, ensuring that they don't go astray by choosing the wrong subjects, which means they want to study sciences. Yes. What sciences do they want to study? Let them go into those fields. They want to study STEM education. Well, of course, STEM education is a whole field by itself. So if they want to do mathematics, let them do mathematics. If they want to do the sciences, let them do the sciences. There is nothing preventing a girl child from acquiring the skills needed in those fields. So let them do as they have to do, because it is absolutely necessary for the men to hands off and let the female child and the female women, and the female people, well, they're female, they're already people, let them do what they want to do. Let them choose what they want, what they feel comfortable doing, rather than rather than forcing them to do what we think is better for them. They know better what they have in themselves as skills that can be honed, that can be fixed, that can be educated, that can be, turned around and given meaning. So don't let them just be there because you want them to be this or that. And of course, women are not just childbearers. They are not just homemakers. They are more than that. So let the men know that they have to give their female child as much opportunity as they give their male child. Honorable?
Yes, anybody that can carry another human being in their stomach for 9 months can definitely do whatever a man can do. And at our sister organization, Africa's Brain Bank, we have one of our board members who's always talk about the law of human performance. And just to paraphrase it, it's saying that anybody can become an expert in any field. It just depends on when and how they were exposed to it. That's opportunity. So if you send the boy child to school and you don't send the girl child, how do you expect the girl child to compete? And the sad things, you see these things in Nigerian movies, you think it's just entertainment. These things happen. You see a guy who is very successful marries a girl in the village and is not comfortable taking her out because she's not educated or as educated. It was not that girl's fault. But there's also, even if you find yourself in that situation, there's adult education. I just saw something on Facebook. One of the actresses in Nollywood said she had to start working at age 19 to help her siblings. And because she saw a friend of hers graduate as an adult, she decided to enroll in an online school, and she just graduated. So there's always that option. And even now, in the tech world that we live in, there's no excuse for those young ladies. Even if you don't have you're not given the opportunity, there are free online courses you can take to educate yourself. And just to piggyback on what Sister Debbie said, Niasong, I did not know there was a stepmother day either. This is the first time I'm hearing that, but I'm not gonna say, I'm glad they have it, and shout out to all the stepmothers out there. But there are also, and I'm hoping, do they have stepfathers days?
I've not seen that yet.
Well, maybe they do. I don't know. But we're talking about gender equality. Yeah. So what is good for the female is good for the male, and what is good for the male is good for the female. But I want us to talk about the situation back home. I don't know if any of you saw this video. There was I don't know if it's gone viral, but I won't be surprised if it does. There's this member of parliament, the Senate in one of the African countries that just lost it and went after the Senate president. I'm not going to call the country name. You can look it up. Senate drama in Africa. And there was a statement, I'm just going to pull up one statement she made. It said, it's about elections, not erection. And I am, that statement is loaded. because a lot of the times that is what happened. Even with our governance, there are men in power who think the women in power are second-class citizens or sex objects, and that should not be that way. I'm glad we're now having some female presidents and heads of states. And if you notice, because by nature, women are nurturers by nature, it will be difficult for a female president to declare war or the kind of murders and genocides that we had seen in the past. But then, what can the women do to make sure they have equal rights? You cannot be quiet. You have to command it. And you may have to be better than the men in that field. There's one of our sisters who is into construction, and a lot of people did not. They did not, think she was capable until they saw what she did. So for the women, if you want to be a builder, make sure you are at the top of your game. Make sure you are better than the other male builders. If you want to be an engineer, make sure you are the best in it. So they will have no choice but to put you right up there. It was because of a woman that NASA had a successful mission. Those of you who have seen the movie called Hidden Figures, you can go watch it. Very powerful movie. So there are some women who face more than just the gender equality, but we're not talking about race here. But I don't know how close we are to getting gender equality. I don't really think we're that close. There's been some progress made, but I don't think we're that close. And when they talk about DEI, people think it's about Black people. No, it's everybody. There are white people that are beneficiaries of DEI. There are white people that are given a job because somebody needs a white person in that position, or somebody needs a white person to be able to get a contract. That is DEI. People need to keep that in mind. It just means diversity, equity, and inclusion, but there's also another one that adds B to it, belonging. So I see Dr. Crosslin came in, and she's always having technical issues. I'm not sure what that is. But I apologize. I have a sore throat a little bit, so you guys just bear with me. But this is something that must change. You cannot discriminate against somebody because of they're a female. And when we talk about gender equality here at AfricaOnline, we are only talking about male and female. Those are the two genders that God created. We're not talking about anything else. So Ania song, when you were talking about God making man and sending them a helper, if the men remember that the woman came from their rib, they would treat the woman with respect, protect the woman and love, because if you hurt that woman, you're actually hurting yourself because she came from your rib. I don't know how many men think about that. And also Proverbs 10:22 say, he who finds a wife findeth a good thing and obtaineth favor. If you are a married man and you want favor, you better treat your wife right. You don't treat her right, no matter how bad she is, you're not going to have that favor. Sister Debbie.
Your Highness, I am so honored and blessed. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. The reason I wanted to just share is because of the gender equality thing and a personal experience from different parts of the world that I've lived and worked with. And I happen to be only one of 2 or 3 women with hundreds of employees or hundreds of colleagues who are male. And it was no fun. But the experience I learned from the last one is, you know what? Whatever you go through as the minority in that gender group that you're working in that field, just keep your head high up, because if you did not deserve it, you will not be there. And at one point, we actually went to a job where one of the men said, "Oh, no, 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 that's not how it works. That's not how it works." And everybody was quiet. They kept saying, "Okay, who knows how to? Who knows how to?" And it came down to the last person who passed it over to me. And I just gave 1, 2, 3 things and it was done. And from that day on, if anything ever happened, they'll have to make sure they consulted me. The reason I'm sharing this is if you know that you're able and capable of doing something, don't hold it within. Just let them know it does not matter who the audience is. It does not matter who is listening, because if you have 10 people, there absolutely will be at least one who will listen and something will resonate with them and they will believe and say something that will help the multitude. Because from that day on, and for a couple of years, it was like, wow, night and day. It was always fighting and fighting. And I thought maybe it was just the biological, the testosterone and all of this fighting against each other. But that wasn't it. It was the ego of everybody, the gender thing. And of course, I keep thinking that this is what I'm supposed to be doing here. I forgot my skin color at some point. And that's when I had to remember that, yes, not everybody in that group was of the same, it's every skin color you can imagine and every culture was there. So as much as we talk of gender being just male and female, we also have to remember that if it's male or female from South America, from Asia, from Africa, from Europe, from Eastern Europe, or North America, the way they perceive one another is not necessarily the same. Thank you very much. Back to you, Your Highness.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
thank you very much. Just to rub into what you two have said, Martin Luther King, I understand what they refer to him as having come up with this quote that if you want to be a street sweeper, sweep streets like Michelangelo painted, like Shakespeare wrote poetry, like Beethoven composed music. Sweep streets so well that all the hosts of heaven and earth will have to pause and say, "Here lived a great street sweeper who swept his job well." So if you have to do it with all your mind. Devote all your attention to it. Pay every ounce of your energy to it and do it as good as it can be, whether you're a man or a woman, but especially for the women, because no matter how hard the woman does it, the men will always turn around and say, "Oh, she's just a woman." She's not just a woman. She's a human being made in his image to help promote the growth of the world so that together we can advance a better world. I believe it is not yet proven that if women were presidents in the world, we will have less wars, we will have less problems, we will have less poverty, we will have less hunger. Because as Reverend Pam said, they are nurturers, natural nurturers. So please, whatever we do, let us give the women the opportunity to do it, because they do it with all their energy, they do it with all their devotion, they do it with all their commitment. They are out there to make sure that it goes better, not bad or not worse. Whatever it is, let us do it the way we should do it, because we are part and parcel of that community. Men and women, they were made together. We have to work together to make sure that the world is a better place for all of God's children. Your Highness?
Yeah, and you see, Debbie, what she said about her experience, one of her experience, I'm sure she has many, just like me. She was at the top of her game. They didn't think a woman could do it, but she solved a problem that a man could not solve, and then she gained respect. And that's what I'm talking about, commanding that equality. Not too long ago, I experienced something where a man convinced another man that was part of my team to come and work with him because he has issues with a woman being in charge. And I looked at it and I laughed, because if somebody else can sway you from where an opportunity that you were given, then you were not worth it in the first place. You didn't deserve it. So there are men that have issues with a woman. They feel like they always have to be in charge. So with gender equality, a woman should be able to be in charge just as much as a man. Let the best qualified person be. And when it comes to visionaries, if a woman is a visionary, why would you want to be portrayed as the visionary? Because of gender? Or why don't you want to support a project that is being spearheaded by a woman, but you support a similar project being spearheaded by a man, or even a lesser project being spearheaded by a man? So this gender equality thing cuts across all sectors. Anything you can think of. I see Dr. Crosslin is on. Dr. Crosslin, sorry, you are having technical difficulties. Kindly unmute yourself. We're talking about gender equality. So the mic is yours. You're welcome to the program. Kindly unmute yourself, Dr. Crosslin. Dr. Crosslin, if you are speaking, we can't hear you. You're muted.
I think she's still having technical problems.
No, she's on though. Dr. Crosslin, can you hear us? Kindly unmute yourself. While we're waiting for her,
yes.
I'll go back to you, Nelson.
Yeah, that being said, whatever we do, as I already said, let us give the women the opportunity they deserve. If you don't try something, you will not see the output of that thing. If you don't try somebody, you will not see the output of that person. So give the women the opportunity and let them fail us before we say, oh, they're just women. They're not just women, as I've already said. They're contributors to the growth and well-being of our communities. So whatever we do, let us forget the stereotypes that we carry around with us against the women, because women need to be given the opportunity before we start telling them that they failed. They will not fail if you give them the opportunity. They will certainly prove that they can do it better than the men. It's a saying, what men can do, women can do even better. So let us try them and see if they fail. Then from there we say, okay, we tried this, it didn't work, so why should we try them another time? So it is up to us to ensure that we give the women the opportunity first before we start being biased against them.
Yeah, so I just thought about something. Dr. Crosslin, we're waiting for you to unmute and wait. So whenever you unmute, we'll give you the mic. But you remember when we did the fundraiser for Operation Borehole during the pandemic? I think it was 2020. Yeah, 2020.
Yeah.
In the is it market in Kenya, where the women were walking miles to go fetch water. The society decided that it was their responsibility, even though it's a physically a daunting task. The men who are supposed to be the stronger vessel put it on the women. And the only time a woman is free from doing that is the day she's giving birth. So when she's pregnant, she's still supposed to do it. And this man who had to go do it when his wife was giving birth, because they get up at 3 a.m. or 5 a.m. to go do that chore.
Yes.
If he fell and broke his teeth, and he was complaining bitterly about it. He was seriously complaining, and I could not help myself. I had to call him out during that live broadcast, during the fundraiser. I was like, how dare he complain bitterly that he fell trying to go do a task that his wife normally does, except when she's giving birth. So gender equality should not only be based on high-end tasks, it should be based on domestic chores. There's no reason why the men cannot go fetch water. And these women, they encounter animals, from what they were saying, during that time. So how is the woman supposed to fight the animal when you, the man, are supposed to be the stronger gender? So it is just, it's a shame that in 2025 these things are still happening. It is a shame.
So what can we do to make sure that we end shame and bring about some better ways of doing things? I believe it is in us individually and collectively. We as men should learn to accept women as human beings, as equal partners in the development process, in the development goal, not thinking that only men can do it better. No, we all can do it better, whatever the circumstance. So please let us work hard. Let us look up and look around and be sure that we give the girl child the same opportunity as we give the boy child, so that together we can have the success in the community, in our communities as we need, because it is absolutely necessary for all and for each and every one of us to work together hand in hand, so that together we can build a better world. Absolutely.
Yeah, just about another example. This happened in a northern state in one of the African countries. We were doing a medical mission, and this was 2010. When we got there, first of all, the women were not allowed to wear pants. So there's gender inequality in even dressing. And I was wearing pants. And when we got there, the men had shifted all the women to the back of the line with the children, and they were standing in front of the line to get medical care. So I don't speak Hausa. I understand a little and I speak very little. So somebody came and told me that, oh, the men are complaining about my pants. I said, tell them that I'm not here for a fashion show. I brought medications and doctors to give them for free. If my pants is a problem, I'll carry my pants and the doctors and the medications to a village that don't have a problem with my pants. And then when they told them that, they kept quiet. Then the second thing is, I told them that it is not possible that all these men came before all the women. So it was a communal decision. So I told them, since you guys push all the women to the back and the children, and we don't know who came here first, we are going to reverse it. The women are going to come to the front. You, the men, will be seen last. You'll be seen, but you will not be seen first. They were not very happy about that, but we saw the women and children first. So gender equality cuts across every sector you can think of, whether it's even receiving care, services, even politics. There have been several elections where around the globe where a female candidate was more qualified than a male candidate, but the populace voted for the male. Even in tribal, local elections, whether it's mayoral or community leader or, state positions, it happens all the time. And so I'm saying that we are nowhere close to realizing gender equality. That's what I'm saying. And since Dr. Croston is having a lot of challenges near some, we are going to be keeping this show at 1 hour today. That's okay with you? Like, as I'm speaking, my throat really hurts.
I can feel it. I can sense it. So whatever it is, we just have to keep hammering the point that treat women as best as you would treat men. Don't discriminate. Don't say, oh, the boy child is better than the female child because she is a girl and she is a boy. Please give them equal opportunities. Try them. As I've already said, if they fail, okay, we draw the conclusion that, yeah, we tried, but we failed. When we have a level playing field, then we can judge equally and then balance and say, yes, the left is better than the right, or the right is better than the left. Yeah, you had something to say.
No, yeah, I was going to see if Sister Debbie have anything to say before we make our announcements and then do the last round. Okay. Anything to add?
Thank you so much, my darling Your Royal Highness, appreciate it so much, and thank you again once more, Nia. So, yes, the one thing I want to add is I have learned to say this to my children that they had free room and board for 9 months. And
I
they,
know where that was.
I like that. I like that.
they almost killed me. I said, please, if you ever have anyone in your lives, treat them with respect. And it does not matter the age. Always respect every man, every auntie, every uncle, everyone around you, so you can get it back in return. What you get is what you give. I said, when I had you for those free 9 months, I gave you the best meals. I had milk regularly. I drank clean water. I did this. I ate good food. I had no alcohol. I was not smoking. So I gave you all and all.
The
That's why you came
best.
to okay. So when I say free room and board, and this was in a room where there were so many of us. Oh, your mom just came in. I said, yes, this is the person who gave her free room and board for 9 months before.
I
And
love that. I've never heard that before, and I'm going to borrow it.
it's okay. You have it. It's okay. I mean, my kids could not even believe that I could say such a thing. And the reason why I want our audience to remember this is that it does not matter how smart you are as a man, always remember that you came from someone called a woman. So treat yourself with respect and also give respect to that person who carried you for those 9 months.
That's true.
You did not even recall what she went through. Like with the women in Kenya going to fetch water during COVID wearing masks. How many of you went through that? Zero. So let's just remember history, and then that will help us shape the future generation, and it'll also help you and others around you to change their mindsets from thinking that, oh yes, I'm a man, I can do this. But also remember that for the period you were in that internal world of your own, your mom took care of you without you knowing, and your dad had absolutely practically no idea what she was going through. She can share the experience, but your dad will never know. So, men, let us always remember that gender equality is a give and take from one side to the other, from you, the man, to your wife, and vice versa, to your mother and your parents, both of them, if they're still around you and you still are able and capable to communicate, and then to the next generation. Thank you so much, Nia.
That
And
is
one
so.
thing, yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, yes. No, go ahead,
Okay,
Nelson.
one thing we should also add is the business world. The business world should know that the female child or the female person is as good as the male person. So give them the same pay, because I know about 23% of women of the incomes that women earn, I mean, of what men earn, women earn less than that. Women earn only 23% of what the men earn, while the men are earning everything and sidelining the women. This is not right. So we should be able to make sure that business leaders, businesses in general, when they employ people, they should not pay some better than others. They should not give some higher incomes than others, because the men and the women are doing the same work, the same amount of time, and they are putting in the same effort. So please do not discriminate and make the women earn less than the men.
You know, Debbie, if every man on this planet would remember that they live rent-free in a woman's womb for 9 months, and that the woman had the opportunity to terminate their lives or cause some kind of disfigurement to them, even when they come into this world, primary caretaker is the woman. If they remember that, they would never discriminate against a woman, and they will be the ones fighting for gender equality. because it started with the men. They are the ones that denied the women gender equality. And those men, I don't know of any of them that were created in the lab. They all came from a woman. Whether it was a surrogate mother or their real mother, they came from a woman. So that's something to keep in mind, that without women, there will be no life. Women risk their life. A lot of women die in childbirth. How many men have died in childbirth? Some of them have collapsed, been in the delivery room, just watching the delivery process. They passed out. That's how weak they are when it comes to stuff like this. So they should imagine if they were the ones trying to push a human being out, a whole human being. You know, so I think we really need to look at this thing from all angles. There is really no justification for gender inequality in any area. There's no justification, whether it's in the military or in the Navy or in the armed forces or law enforcement or law. There should be none whatsoever. Let me talk about next week.
Yes.
We are going to be discussing, it's a medical topic. We're going to be discussing menstrual hygiene with Dr. Vivian Kumba and one of our sisters, Lenora from Ghana, Accra, Ghana. She has a program called Empower Her. She's trying to empower young girls in some of the remote areas with feminine napkins. So we're going to be asking people to support her program. That's what we're going to be discussing next week. Let me pull up the anthem here and play it, and then we'll do. I am struggling to speak. My throat is so sore. Hold on. Let's see here. All right. Can you hear the
Oh,
Yes, it's playing.
Africa. Oh no. Africans, Africans for Africa. 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 Africans have many bright ideas. If only you let us share. If you really want to know my history, please come, sit down, listen to my story. God gave us a wisdom. He guides our footsteps, makes us shine and transform. Hey, as one people, with so many cultures, yet indeed we are one. Stand up, Africans, let's save Africa. Let us all unite behind AfricaOnline Media Corporation. Stand up, Africans, let's save Africa. It's time to come together, promote awareness, progress, and solution. Hey. Africans, Africans for Africa. Africans, Africans for Africa. Africans, Africans for Africa. All Africans can rally for a common cause, to believe without judgment in what our brother does. To identify and resolve our challenges, to allow each other's ideas without regard to standards. As one people with so many cultures, yes indeed we are one. Stand up, Africans, for Africa. Let us solve all the problems plaguing our continent. Stand up, Africans, let's save Africa. Let us empower Africans in and out of education. That's a good way to start. Stand up, Africans. Let's save Africa. They have all the resources we need to benefit our society. Oh. Education for everyone. If we believe prosperity for Africans, if we believe medical facilitation for Africans, if we believe stand up, Africa, yes, for Africa. Africa Online Media Corporation. That's a good way to start. Stand up, Africans. Let's save Africa. Africa is the cradle of civilization, the motherland. Stand up, Africans, for Africa. We were enslaved not because we were weak, but because of our hospitality. Stand up, Africans. Let's see Africa. Jump on the AfricaOnline miracle jet. Don't be left behind. Stand up, Africans, for Africa. Together we shall succeed. Together we will win. Stand up, Africans. Let's see Africa. We are writing our own story. The truth, and we shall tell it to the world. Stand up, Africans, for Africa. No more lies. Africans own Africa.
No more lies. Africans own Africa. We're asking Africans to stand up for Africa. And when we say Africans, we mean all African descendants. I wrote that song under the inspiration of the Almighty, and it was composed by our very own DJ Skipper, aka Jerry Cleo Tamfo. So we own full rights to that song, Nia song. I'm gonna pass it over to you for the last words.
Well, Debbie, please unmute and give us your last word as we wrap up this shortened edition of our discussion program. Debbie, please, if you are still on the line, unmute and give us your last word. Thank you.
I just want to say that I appreciate every human being in our life.
We're losing you. Are you talking? Still talking? We can't hear you anymore.
Debbie, you're muted. Debbie, you're muted.
Oh, I don't know what happened.
Yes, something wrong.
Thank you so much, Nia-san. I just want to say I hope that we continue to fight for equality for our girl child and the females, and we should all understand that we are human beings. There are some qualities in the female child that you do not know and cannot know until you give them that exposure. So let's continue to have an open mind to our female individuals, be it at home or otherwise, and let us also make sure if we are employers, we hire equal genders in our workplaces and make sure they are paid, they are given equal pay for the same job that they do, and no discrimination. Thank you so much. Back to you, Nia-san.
Thank you very much. Our CEO, please, I know you're having a raspy voice, but you can give us your last word before we call them.
Yeah, I just want to encourage every male and female out there that we are equal in all categories except anatomy. So our physiology is the same. our psychology is the same, our intellect, everything, and we all bleed red. So God decided to do some tweaking in our anatomy so that we can fulfill our purpose on earth. But we need to keep in mind that anybody, male or female, can be the best at anything if they put their mind to it. There's a saying that practice makes perfect. Even at your old age, you can still start a new career, including artificial intelligence. And you keep practicing it, you're going to be the best in it. So don't give up, and don't look down on anybody because of their gender. There are women that look down on men because of their gender too. So it goes both ways, but most of the time, the women are at the receiving end of gender inequality. So we have come a long way, but we still have a long way to go. And we will continue to raise awareness about these issues, seek solutions to these issues, and make progress. And once more, I apologize for my voice. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We should all go away with the thought and remember that gender equality is a fundamental human right. And whether you're a girl or a boy, stay in school, complete school, learn what you want to learn, and don't let somebody bully you or intimidate you against doing what you want to do. Let your mind tell you what you want to do and do it. And we thank you all for listening to Africa Online Media Corporation. We will be with you next Sunday, and we will be talking more female problems, especially menstrual health. So please come join us next week on Africa Online Media Corporation, and let's give you those hints, those tips that you need to be able to live a wholesome life. Thank you all, and have a happy week